What's going on, everybody? Brett here. I'm back today playing some more Battle Brothers Warriors of the North DLC. It's day 92. It's night. And guys, I'm in Maryland. I am on vacation. I had some free time. My buddy that I'm staying with is going to a pretty badass like fencing class, but like medieval with broadswords and stuff. Super jealous, but he's gonna be gone for a few hours. So I was like, you know what? I need to record, get some more recording done, and get you guys deeper into this playthrough. Where we picked off last time, we had an awesome last episode. That duel in the icy cave was incredible. That was one of the most fun things I've done in this DLC so far. We left off, we had a lot of levels. So I was kind of perusing them to see what we wanted to do, wanted to choose. And there's a lot of tough choices here. I think I wanted to go Killing Frenzy on Sir Lancel. I wanted to get him, man, a 2-roll there is a little rough. Let's get him a 4 here, and perhaps we can take a 3-roll in range defense. That's fine. I would much rather get melee defense. Those aren't the hard ones, really. The hard ones are like Thane Jotnar, and it's difficult because we don't have his forever weapon. And by that I mean, we don't have a unique weapon of a unique variety that we would like to kind of lock him in, right? If we had a legendary sword, we could say, you know what, let's give him sword mastery and hook him up with it. So I'm going to hold off on giving him his final point. But as I was sitting here looking, I had a few things that I was debating. So 9 lives is okay. I was also looking at something like Steel Brow, which generally is a pretty good tanky option. I was looking at Fortified Mind, just to greatly increase his resolve, which is very useful in the later stages of the game. I was also looking at something like Underdog or Backstabber. So Backstabber is something we haven't really messed with too much. It was a suggestion from someone in the comment section that kind of got me to start thinking how useful that could be on a few of the brothers that I want to use as my anchors in the center of my line. Because generally, if they're in the center of your line, they'll probably be in situations more often where the enemies they're fighting have your brothers surrounding them. And you'll get this bonus. And it's especially useful for brothers who have really low melee skill. But then the lower the melee skill, the lower the percentage affects them. So it's kind of a fine balance. I would say any brother, and this is just me spitballing here, I haven't done the math. If your brother's around 90 melee skill, I don't think you need it. I really don't. Um, if your brother's around like 75-ish, you might want to consider something like Backstabber, giving you that bonus to give you a better chance to hit. If we have brothers here in the front line who are kind of lower caliber, like Wonton Fu, but you add the bonus that the spear gives, plus something like Backstabber, and the surround bonus itself, unless the opponent has underdog, and you're all of a sudden you're dealing with some very solid numbers that are giving you a very good chance to hit your opponent. So we're going to take a 3-roll there. That's nice to see. A 3 here as well. And then our other rolls are honestly pretty bad. I mean, I hate only having 1 or having 6 melee defense on this character. Obviously his shield is great. We're getting good stats from that, but we shouldn't have to be relying on that. At some point, we're just probably going to continuously pump after this level in melee defense. So here, I don't think 2 in resolve is worth anything, but a 4 in HP is fine. So now we have to make a decision. I was heavily considering Underdog, taking away that surround malice, and I was also heavily considering Crippling Strikes. I just hate having this as an ineffective talent versus the Undead. So I think I'm going to go with Underdog over something like Steel Brow, because with a helmet this strong, with Colossus making it so that we are reducing the amount of injuries we take anyway, I find it highly unlikely. Also Indomitable, reducing a lot of times damage by 50%. I find it pretty unlikely that hits to the head are going to be as effective. And Underdog is itself a kind of evasion, which is in itself also kind of a defensive stat. So I'm going to get Underdog, and we're going to hold off on this last perk here. And we're just going to hold it. Let's come over here to Skibo. So talking to Skibo's, I almost said Skibo's owner, but yeah, Skibo's owner. I mean, the guy in the comment section who's got Skibo. And he was saying that throwing mastery is something that he would appreciate. Before we pump that, let's see what kind of rolls we get. And we'll take a 3 there in range skill. We'll definitely take a 4 in fatigue. And we should probably take this 3 here in resolve. And probably never pump resolve again and just continuously pump these two. And probably melee defense. But let's go ahead and do it. Let's honor his wishes. Throwing mastery. We could take a second to read it together. So master throwing weapons to wound or kill the enemy before they even get close. Skills build up 25% less fatigue. Damage is increased by 40% when attacking at 2 tiles of distance and 20% when attacking at 3 tiles of distance. And something I learned recently was that if you get duelist on a throwing master and you take off like a shield for instance, and you just one-handed throw, duelist counts towards that. And that's pretty insane. That's a lot of extra damage. Yeah, so that's just something to consider if you wanted to make really offensive throwing weapon brothers. You could go throwing mastery with duelist, and that seems pretty scary to me. Especially with something like crippling strikes executioner pumping damage, killing frenzy pumping damage, and then you could also consider something like fast adaptation to make sure you hit. I think I'm going to go with killing frenzy. It's good if we hit people with this. With our javelins currently, it's good if we hit people. We want throwing axes. Throwing axes. It's good if we hit people with just about anything. So if we also need to use our mace, we can do that, and it'll help us as well. But on to the next one, Fritz. Fritz is our cleaver master. I think also I would like to get killing frenzy on him. It's also tempting to get headhunter, because if he's going to be using cleavers, he's going to be trying to go for decapitate. We can read it. Killing the target will always decapitate it if at all possible. Going for the head, getting that decapitation. It's interesting. But 2 perks to play with. We could go Crippling Strikes Executioner. That's pretty standard. But I feel like we can hook him up in some other way. His fatigue is so poor. And I'm happy to see a 4 roll there. I was really hoping for that. And a 3 roll there is fine. And let's just take a 2 in melee defense. Let's get him Killing Frenzy. We could also consider making him just a little bit different perhaps and getting him something like Fearsome. Kind of just for fun. His resolve is pretty decent. It's not terrible. 55 is a good place. 60 is kind of my new 50. But let's make him the only person that has Fearsome. I like that a lot. It's something that I valued really highly in my last playthrough for its synergy with the direwolf pelts and our abilities to weaken the morale of enemies, which in turn weakens their stats. So there was a lot of synergy there, and causing injuries does the same thing. So we were able to be both defensive and offensive with this. But this playthrough, I wanted to kind of steer away from that just a little bit and try something new. So Zach Longshanks is a bit of a unique case. So let's give him that 4 roll. Thank goodness for that. We'll pump 4 there. And I honestly want to take this 4 roll in HP over this 3 roll in initiative. Because we're going to take Nimble. So let's read what Nimble does. And we wanted initiative there as well, but I don't think we could pass up those rolls. We'll be pumping initiative, fatigue, and range skill almost certainly until he's max level. So it says specialize in light armor. By nimbly dodging or deflecting blows, convert any hits to glancing hits. Hit point damage taken is reduced by up to 60%, but lowered exponentially by the total penalty to maximum fatigue from body and head armor above 15. The lighter your armor and helmet, the more you benefit. Brawny does not affect this perk. So let's get it. And I think it tells us how much it's affecting us. Only receive 42% of any damage. So we could probably slim this down a little bit, probably this helmet. If we get, it's only 5 fatigue. That's honestly not bad. We've kept him pretty slim. The worst thing is the battle standard, which is currently draining us for 7 fatigue. Falcon doesn't affect anything. Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't carrying the battle standard, this would probably be a little bit better, but I don't think it's bad at all. And now we have a choice. I was considering either fast adaptation or killing frenzy, and I like killing frenzy, especially with berserk. And his stats are high enough, and they will be high enough. He'll probably be around the 90s and the low 90s by the end, and that's high enough to be consistent to the point where I don't think 8% chance to hit is going to really make or break us. So with that, unless I'm missing something, oh, overwhelm is kind of what I'm missing. You know what? I think we're going to go with overwhelm. We need to take advantage of our high initiative, and our initiative is only going to get higher as we level. So what this does, for those of you who don't know, we take advantage of our high initiative, we act first, and with every attack, hit or miss, against an opponent that acts after you in the current round, inflict the overwhelm status effect, which lowers both melee skill and range skill by 10%. And it stacks. We're going to go with that. I like that a lot. So, with all of that out of the way, thanks for sticking with me through that. Let's go ahead and actually, before we do that either, there are two contracts in here which we should look at. We're well stocked. We have, all the things we need. Tempting to buy that helmet, but we need to get up to 15k. And I want to do it without selling my soul and all of my coolest gear. Let's see what these contracts are. That is not the kind of work we're looking for. They wanted us to go and deliver something to Dornan. Fighting goblins won't come cheap. Ooh. East of Edsvik, so it could be very far out. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that contract. So what I wanted to do today, and the main thing I wanted to do, was I wanted to come down to perhaps Gerstal. We've never been to Gerstal, we've never been to Elkshorn, and we've never been to Grafenheid. We need to see what's there. I'm hoping to find a taxidermist. We have a lot of great materials. We'll take as many fights as we can get along the way. Hopefully find a taxidermist. We'll craft some really cool armor augmentations if we can. Ooh, I think this place is suffering from witches. Oh, check this out. This is a new weapon. I never remember how to say this. Like Bardish? Or Bardich? Probably Bardich. That sounds more correct. Let's see what the damage is on this compared to like an axe maybe? I'm wondering. 40 to 130. It seems like it's just a mid-tier great axe. Man, the fact that we haven't even seen it until now is kind of sad. I wish I'd have had that a while ago. It's a pretty cool thing. Maybe it has a different set of attacks. Also, it might have reach. I didn't really stick around as long as I could have to check out. We're good on everything else. Might as well check out what the contracts are. So, this is a fighting Hexen. I'll need some time to think about this. That's a pretty difficult contract. Deliver cargo about a day to the east. I'll need some time to think about this. So, we might actually do that. Where do they want us to go? Deliver cargo. No. Decline. Yeah, let's just head out. I don't want to get distracted with all of these kind of crazy contracts. Would honestly like to fight some Hexen. I think our resolve is high enough that we could take a small number of them, which is probably all it would be. Oh wow, they're getting crushed. We don't want to go in there. Let's come and visit your. So another armorer, or a weaponsmith rather, which I don't hate. I like having as many of those as possible, especially in the late game. More good prices on tools. So this is a simple Follow the tracks. We'll do it. This probably won't be an exciting fight, sadly. But what it will be is easy, quick money, hopefully. Because right now we're burning cash just to travel. Let's find these guys, kill them, and then on the way back we'll take out the hideout. So who is it? Some raiders and marksmen? I would much rather fight them in the swamp. Brigands, just as your employer had thought. They look scared, presumably understanding that Niles of Gerstel's well-paid wrath is about to descend upon them. To arms. Alright, let's see what they got. I see hunting bows, I see men with no shields. Hopefully they'll start stepping towards us. Certainly use that to see where they are. So, 3 marksmen. If they need me to come to them, we can certainly do that. Hope to get lucky. And start moving around with Svarog and Isaac. And I don't really want to move my front line yet. Let them shoot if they can. Nice. And then very soon we're going to go right up the center and start pushing them. Just give our lone wolf brothers a chance to get in a position and do what they do. Meanwhile, we'll shoot apart any raiders that advance. We actually have a clear line of sight on him. Nice. Yeah, sadly for him, without his shield wall up, he probably won't make it. I don't like stepping in on this guy, so we're going to wait. We'll pass. Perfect. So, let's see if anyone else steps up. That's what we wanted. Let him close the distance. Let him use his fatigue. And perhaps we can move forward in a way that gives us the advantage. Okay. Nice. Stay here. Use Jotnar and his super heavy armor as kind of an advance team. And send forward Zach that way. Just still not really giving them any kind of line of sight on anyone. An aim shot is only 20%. Hold off. We don't want to mess up Svarog's lone wolf, and if we get too close to him, we will. Would be great to kill this guy this turn. Let's step in here, use adrenaline, make sure we go first. Make sure we're putting our shields right in front. And with that decapitation, we scared the heck out of him. So something I realized I've never really showed you guys is this. So I can leave it down maybe for this battle and you can kind of see where the rolls are. It's really not important. I kind of don't like to play with it simply because I feel like it's easy to get caught up in the numbers and to kind of lose sight of the fun of it all. Because at the end of the day, whether you nearly hit or nearly miss, it really doesn't matter. But it might be interesting for you guys to see sometimes just how close, you know, a certain character came to doing a certain thing. Let's make sure we're getting these shields in front. Okay. Go for the big hits. We got him to bleed at least. Oh, I didn't realize. Is he not behind a tree? Or did he just get very lucky? I think he just got very lucky. Good shot. Get him. Perfect. So that's going to save us a swing on Isaac later. Yeah, they just got lucky. The trees are a great place to hide, but nothing really beats luck. Try and go around with good old Lancel. And instead of reloading, we'll try for another hit, because it's potentially a one-shot. And that should allow us to move forward with Isaac now as well. If we can pin him in, that would be great, but we may not be able to. And he's almost certainly going to act first, and he's going to look to run, I'm sure. And him stepping away from the trees gave us a clear line of sight, but we missed. We missed some pretty decent shots. If we absolutely wanted to, we could release a dog, but that's a little excessive. Very easy fight. We're going to get, you know, a good bit of gear from this that we can sell. We're going to get the 750, and we're going to clear out that bandit place we found. And put ourselves much closer to our current goal of 15k, which is huge. We got Killing Frenzy now. Run them down. There we go. Man, I'm really been impressed by Adrenaline. Yeah, and this is going to be several hundred crowns for us. Perfect. Not to mention some decent experience. Did anyone level? No. Okay. Fast forward that. Yeah, so today's episode, I mean it to be a bit of an exploratory one. I don't know if we'll get a chance to fight any super crazy enemies. The Hexen might have been a cool fight to take, but I just don't want to slow down the progress to get to the places where we want to be. And then when we get to where we want to be, kind of that center of the map, eastern part of the map, we'll be able to take really whatever fights we want. And I'll definitely try to do something different. Come on, y'all. Okay. Just hope to hit somebody else. There's only 5 of them in here. What a weak, super weak garrison. We don't want to move forward because we don't want to make this a fight where only 2 of our guys can fight all of theirs. Just want to pin them in. Just like this. They have these 2 spaces, all they can do, or they can try and come up here. Kind of identified this guy as the most dangerous. And that's pretty much it, textbook. Super easy. Yeah, I was hoping for more of a challenge. We haven't really seen a lot of, leaders or champions or anything. I figured we would kind of be at that part of the game by now with our current gear, but we advanced so quickly that I think we're a tiny bit ahead of the game. And part of that may be because we played on beginner, and I hate to feel like we have those kind of advantages. But it may take just a little bit longer for the game to catch up with just how geared we are. But as we've seen, if we want to take some ridiculously tough fights, we can. I just wish these kind of medium fights that are scattered around were currently a little bit harder. Before we know it, they will be. All we really did by playing on beginner was cut out a ton of the early game grind, which I can tell you is definitely not the most fun part about Battle Brothers. It can be, though. It can be. Sometimes there is some challenge and fun to the grind. I could definitely see it if that's your thing. Like, you just like to start a new campaign, see what kind of early game struggle you can get into, what kind of roles you get, and then starting over and over again, trying to get, like, the best perks possible. Best, like, starting traits. We need ammo. We should just buy some. And what are the prices like here to sell? That is the big question. Let's go look at our trusty bear. And the prices here to sell are terrible. So we're not going to sell. Sadly. If we came down to Dornan, we could probably make a very nice profit. But let's head out to Grafenheid, this place we've never been to. Elkshorn, another place we've never been to. And after all this time, these dudes are still hostile to us. So hopefully the one taxidermist on the map isn't down there. I think we leave 6 brigands alone unless they walk directly into our path. In which case we can't leave them alone because they're essentially like 500-600 crowns worth of gold just walking around. And a long axe is a pretty sweet pickup. It's valuable. I don't know if we'll use it, but certainly in my last playthrough I made good use of long axes. And something we can start doing now is hoarding them because they're a godsend versus the scrat. They have kind of a bonus versus them. And the Scrat are a very dangerous enemy we won't be fighting for a little while now. Because they will absolutely kill our brothers. For those of you who've never seen them, think Ints. Lord of the Rings Ints. Good hit. Let's get up on this high ground, use adrenaline. Use Indomitable, expecting to get smacked. Really hate it when they go for our shields, especially our unique, really powerful shields. Step a little closer, maybe we'll be able to kill this guy before he's able to smack our shields. $67. Nailed him. Take a little high ground. Do they both? Yeah, they're getting that bonus. They both have shield wall up. But we've got double bleeding, and one of it's from a Cleaver Master, so that bleeding is really potent. We'll wait. That felt good. That felt good too. Throwing weapons are so satisfying when they hit. Another huge bleed. And no more bonuses for him, and he is going to go down. Perfect. So nice, easy, clean up fight. We get a level. We get a long axe. Which if we sell it is several hundred crowns. It's kind of that should be the name of this episode. Several hundred crowns. And here we go. More brigands. We just rid all of Sherwood Fort. We just killed all of Robin Hood's merry men. Only 4 of them? I guess they're seeing us and they're fleeing. So all of these fights that probably should have been against, you know, 10 guys end up being versus like 6 and then 4 because we're seeing the fleeing ones. Just spread that damage around. Just let them come in. I don't think they'll turn and run at this point. Okay, should have checked that first. Whew, let's step in. Easy crowns, easy life. Can we get in here? No. Run them down. Alright, let's end this Farog. Thank you. We don't want to be like cats playing with our food. Oh my god, speaking of cats. So before we left our trip, we had a neighbor try to take care of that kitten we just got. And it's not so much a kitten anymore as a kind of like a teenager cat in terms of its age. And the night before we left, it didn't come home. And we don't know where it went. So we're worried that something happened to it. There's a tiny hole in my fence that's made by like my neighbor's dogs. And we put like a piece of tile in front of it until I could mend the fence board. And when I went outside to check to see where he was, that little tile had come down. So I think he may have gone into my neighbor's yard. No real evidence of that. And my neighbor keeps putting out food for him. But we don't... It's getting eaten. But it could be a stray neighborhood cat, something like that. But either way, it's pretty depressing to think that something bad has happened to Bitten. Cross your fingers for me. I guess if you're religious, say a prayer. I don't know. But it's very sad. Hopefully he comes home. My kids and especially my wife have gotten really attached to him. I have too. I'm not going to act like I don't care about him. You know, even only having him for as short a time as we have, I've definitely gotten attached. Let him in the house in the morning to come and have breakfast with me, that sort of thing. I think we're just supposed to sell this. Don't want to sell this here because they make it here. But yeah, once again, no taxidermist. Let's pay too much to get drunk. See what kind of contracts we can get into. Brigand problem, okay. We'll accept their offer. Because wow, they want us to go north. That's exactly where we want to go. So, what I kind of want to do is come down here first. Take this fight. Head north to take this fight. And then, we might just return back and turn it in. Just that way when we get to the next place, we won't have a current contract. An all Geist fight. I have never seen an all Geist fight. Or if I have, it's been a long time. Wow. I'm kind of shocked. We definitely want to get this out right now. And you always have a 5% chance to hit a Geist, which is essentially like nothing. You almost may as well not even shoot because you're just wasting your time. But sometimes you can get lucky. There you go. What you want to do is throw into the crowd and hope to hit someone else. But we really want to make sure we're like crowding around our leadership here. Not taking fights on the low ground. And even at this early stage, our brothers are relatively high in resolve. I think we have only one brother who's like in the 49 resolve area. Everyone else should be pretty dang competent. But yeah, guys, I know I kind of glossed over the whole like bitten the kitten thing being lost, but ugh. For those of you out there with pets, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like a sinking feeling. Like we're just gonna get home and we're just never gonna see him again. And I've had pets my whole life. I've had dogs and cats, and I had a rabbit also when I was younger. But I found it hard to get super emotionally attached to animals just because in the end, they always kind of end up going. But I can't help it. I end up getting attached anyway. I'm more fear for its safety, which is kind of why I picked it up in the first place. Because it was a young cat in kind of an area of my neighborhood where there are stray cats kept at this church, this local church, where people like feed them and, you know, do things with them, but the colony is kind of getting out of control. And I think at a certain point, people like the city's gonna come and take them. And they generally don't try to adopt out feral cats, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, I have my fears. So I felt like I was doing a good thing by taking him, but if then something turns around and happens to him because I took him, then I would just feel awful. So, wish me luck. Wish Bitten luck. But other than that kind of like bad news, I can tell you guys a little bit about my day while we're like positioning on these Geists. Let's rally. Bring everybody back. I went to D.C. today. So I'm in Maryland. My buddy lives kind of close to D.C. And I've never been. I had never been before today. And I have to say I was pretty in awe of some things. As someone who like served in the military at a very, at a young age. My friend and I was kind of discussing this because we're both prior service. It's like when you join up and you're not even old enough to enjoy some of the freedoms that you're allowed, in America. It's kind of strange, that feeling of like you're going to war for freedoms you don't even perhaps fully understand, and a country that you barely have seen. So to be so up close to kind of like the hub, see the capital where laws are made, to see the monuments of some of our greatest presidents, to be so close that I could, almost reach out and touch the Lincoln Memorial, which to me was one of the more impressive monuments. It was kind of the one that I kind of loved the most. Lincoln is probably my favorite president. I know he's a lot of people's favorite president. But it meant a lot. I'll say, a little bit of a critique, if you've ever been there. Really big homeless problem in D.C. And either those people need to get some help. I don't know what the situation is like there on a day-to-day basis, but there was just a huge homeless problem. And that's rough to see in a place where so much promise is supposed to be held, to see people in that kind of state. And also, it was very dirty. It was very, very dirty, and I wasn't happy to see that. And it might just be because of a lot of the foot traffic. But the day that I'm recording this is Memorial Day, which of course is kind of a special day for veterans and people in service, and really just, the nation in general. But it was pretty special to go to D.C. and go to the World War II monument, the Martin Luther King monument, Jefferson, of course the Washington Monument. You can't really go in it right now, because it's under construction, but it was still pretty cool. Do we need anything? I don't think so. But who's right out here? Greenskin Horde. They're fighting with this company. I feel like the company is going to win. There's 18 of these dudes. Yeah, they're going to crush that horde. So let's just go up here and take out the 30 Axes encampment. Hopefully, they have like a little watchtower on the side. It's like a legit place. Let's camp and check out any levels we may have, because we have 2 here that we weren't attending to. Ragnar, crossbowman, great. Also a decent roll in melee skill, but we definitely don't want to pass up 4 in fatigue, that's for sure. And this kind of roll and resolve doesn't come along every day, but I think we want to get him up to 70 melee skill at least. And now, since he is a crossbow bro, we will make sure that he has Battle Forged, because we're going to want to put him in some heavier armor. Now Kata here already has dodge. I think we also want to give him nimble. And then, similar to Zach, who doesn't have Colossus, but that's because he had to have Rally the Troops to make him an effective standard bearer. We would probably go with Overwhelm once again, and his initiative is also pretty great. So let's see what kind of rolls we get. A nice big roll there in range skill. Good roll in fatigue, and I also think we take another 4 roll in initiative. And let's see what kind of, yeah, down to 46%. And we're going to get him some better armor than this, some lighter armor, once we're able to pick up more unique stuff. So let's make day to night, or night to day rather. Finally a brigand leader. Some marksman. This should be a real fight. Hopefully I don't regret asking for more challenge. And I asked for more challenge, and the game puts me in a hole against the enemy that they put in a mountain. Yep, that's what's going to happen. 3 crossbowmen. If I can clear this guy from my frontliners, we can push up the mountain. Walking backwards is not super effective, because what's going to happen is we're going to back up, not be able to act. They're going to keep coming forward, but their archers are not. So I think the best solution is to try and push up the mountain. Clear out anyone we can. Make a hole. If we can just make a hole in this bottom portion here. You know what? I'm going to take this risk. We're just going to go for the hit. Let's shield wall everyone else. Damn, if we'd have hit that, that would have been pretty good. We just need to protect our low ground, brothers. And I am very worried about these crossbows. Alright, let's go for a swing. And Indomitable. Make sure they don't push me off this hill. Anything like that. Wow, he's got lamellar armor and a noble sword. And that's also a pretty decent helmet. So if we can kill this guy, that'll be pretty sweet. That's definitely the leader. Juiced Crown Taker. Juiced. That's funny. Kind of like an American phrase for... I guess you could use it for being excited or sometimes using steroids. Show me what you got. Alright. I mean, if you got to go on somebody, going on Isaac is one of our preferred targets for sure. And I would love to get that armor if I can. Oh, perfect. Thank you, AI. Hopefully we can capitalize. I don't like being in a hole, but currently he's protecting some of our back line. Okay. Pass. Step up here. Wait. Wait. Very important to see where these guys go. If they step down one more time, we can fight them on solid, even ground. If anything, even if we can't put a ton of damage on him, we can at least make him more tired. Step up here and lock these guys down pretty effectively. But unfortunately, we have no way to go up except through this leader or through these pretty heavily shielded guys. Let's go first here. So we really need to fade some serious crossbow shots. They could get lucky and straight kill us right now. But we're going to back up with Zach, or Leisure Side. Applying 2 stacks of Overwhelm I felt like was better than switching to a polearm. Something is like really blocking us there. It's hard to tell what. I guess it's this tree maybe. Get out the bill hook. Alright, good miss. And he dies from bleeding, which I think means we don't get the experience. Which is a little rough if you ask me. We'll go for another throwing axe. We run out of ammo. And I'm not about to get in a hole versus those guys. But I am kind of happy that we're currently defending our archers somewhat. All we needed to do was get some bleed. That's great. And let's... Man, how far away can we get with... Trying to think if that's far enough away. I mean, that's better. Perfect. If we could get some bleed on him, that would have been great from Fritz. Big hit. Hope they don't kill Leisure Side here. Ugh. Or Ragnar, of course. Nice. Happy to see him routing. That means he won't get a chance to smack us with that noble sword. Wow, 9 lives. Okay. Perfect. Just have to keep them tied down to make sure we hopefully won't get any crossbow shots next turn. Hoping for a big hit there too, because we are fighting a bit of an uphill battle. And anyone who's very hurt should just be, you know, evacuated at this point. People like Ragnar. Sadly, he has nowhere to go. But yeah, guys, if you've ever been to DC, let me know what you thought about it. I'm curious other people's opinions. And I'm definitely not as well traveled as I would like to be, especially in terms of, you know, like European countries. I would love to go. I'm a big history fan. And even in places where perhaps the history isn't, you know, profound or something like that, I'm still interested. And I got to get a passport. Something I've been slacking on. But I was sick for a long time. I didn't really have the ability to travel. And I'm just now kind of starting to again. My buddy was nice enough to have me over. But I do a lot of cooking whenever I travel. So I made him some gumbo. If you're familiar with that, it's a pretty sweet Louisiana dish. And I like to cook a lot. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up early and make some like really quality chocolate chip pancakes. If any of you out there are cooking fans, I am as well. I found that cooking got a lot more important to me as a matter of health once I became, you know, ill. It's so much more important than maybe it at first seems. Definitely not trying to get preachy. Eat what you want. Like whatever, your body is yours. But there are just some foods I don't eat anymore at all. And not even really some foods. It's more like there's some like processed, honestly, mostly Americanized version of food that I just stay away from. Like American cheese is probably, I think, the example most people can agree on. Like if you have the option to put American cheese on a hamburger, cheese, which is, by the way, not cheese. If you have an option to put that on a hamburger versus cheddar cheese, like, man, I don't know why you would ever choose American, other than maybe you're just super used to it. But like living in America, just a little insight for you guys. Like I grew up eating American cheese and thinking that like I hated cheese. And I realized, you know what? I don't hate cheese. I just hate American cheese. And that's really all I was ever getting. So I felt like I hated cheese, but that just wasn't the case. And we get super unlucky here. We didn't get the noble sword. We didn't get his helmet. We didn't get his armor, which I kind of suspected because we broke it. But we could have tried to not break it. But the noble sword, at least I was hoping to get, and we didn't get it. So very unlucky to not get anything there. But we're still going to make a small fortune from there. Maybe enough to get our 15,000 crowns would be very close. But what we definitely should do is try and repair it. Because I think some of that stuff was a little bit valuable. This and that might be worth it. These are definitely worth it. That's worth it because we're probably going to sell it. Head over here and turn this in. Hopefully they like us just a bit more, make the prices a bit better. But either way, we're definitely going to accomplish this today. We're going to get that bigger inventory space, which is kind of crazy because we're already like nearly maxing out. Like just getting over here, we almost maxed it out. So, I mean, we fixed it up a little bit. It's also not super cost effective because we're using a ton of our tools, and the prices here generally suck. Yeah, let's just not waste our tools. It's not worth it. We have some cool paints we could use. Why do they give you the option to sell this? If this is like a unique quest item, like I don't even want to accidentally sell this. I don't even want the option to. Because with my luck, that would happen. I want to sell that because I'm pretty sure it's just a sellable item. That's all it exists for. And that puts us over 15k. We can check this out. Yeah, not interested. We still need to get to Elkshorn. So a tavern and a temple. Come on. I see a gatherer's hut. I see lots of ruins. Oh no. Come on. Burning Sun Company. And they have a Fletcher at least. That's something. But the prices here are awful. Buying and selling. Those are the absolute worst prices I have ever seen. Wow. Get ourselves a bit more food. But they have abducted children, hunting season, venison and furs are in rich supply, unhold attacks. But it looks like their buildings are destroyed. A 3 skull contract to take on witches. Oh Lord. We're near the end of today's video. Like I said, guys, I always do this. Right at the end of the video, I'm like, you know what? Let's do a really hard, challenging fight. Ugh. And then, like, I'm gonna, like, regret it horribly. I may save the game, because Hexen are such an unpredictable opponent, very similar to the Alps. And it's gonna be our first Hexen fight, I believe. Not saying we're not equipped to fight it, but it's definitely a tough one. And if we're fighting more than, like, 3 or 4 of them, it could get dicey, but we do have 2 sources of rally. So let me go ahead and read the ambition fulfilled. A wise man once told you that a wagon loses value the second it leaves the lot. Like buying a car. The axiom dwells in the back of your head as you hand over 10,000 crowns. I thought it was going to be 7,500 for the wagon. But then you step up into the box seat and jack your boot against the toe board and feel right at home. You turn and take a look into the bed. There, the wagon maker installed a series of side-turned gates with iron spikes, situated to hang trophies, pelts, and other goods. There is also a cage to hold a dog or a dog of a man if need be. A wooden toolbox with a heavy slap latch carries all the means necessary to repair weapons and armor. Spare axles and wheels are held under carriage. Nodding, you turn back around and gander at the workhorse. The draught animal is a squat creature with muscled legs and an indifferent demeanor. It mindlessly crops the grass at its feet until you take up the jerk line and jockey it forward. The wagon trundles and tips and sags with nothing to suggest it was made to do anything you've beckoned it to do, and yet there it goes. Svarog Erdnot, Lord of War, walks by swinging a wine bottle. When he asks, "How's the ride?" you steal his bottle and smash it across the wagon side and yell out, "Rawhide!" Okay. Guys, I grew up watching a lot of westerns. Rawhide is like the first show Clint Eastwood was ever in. He wasn't really a main character, but it's an early like Clint Eastwood show, if you're a fan. We gain inventory space, we gain renown, we lose 10,000 crowns. Everyone loves us. We're super amped to fight. But I think I'm going to call that for today's episode. I think that's a safe bet. And we'll start up tomorrow by fighting the Hexen. So a new dangerous enemy for us will be, I think, out of places to explore that don't hate us. But as we have just discovered, there is not a single taxidermist in any of these cities. That is unbelievable. We have to have a taxidermist, which means we have to let these people like us again, somehow. And it's crazy. It's going to take forever. And in the meantime, I'm going to have all of these different things in my inventory that we can't make any good use of. We're currently famed, is our renown, and our reputation is still dreaded. Did that change our look a little bit? I'm not sure. We went from barbarians to armored, but I don't know if we took a step up after that. But before we go, and we are getting ready to go, let's go ahead and check out Ozzy, who managed to level. Get up to his level 11. It's a big milestone. And he's another archer. Take a 3 roll there. And I think we take a 5 in initiative as well. Because just like the rest, he's going to go dodge, nimble, and killing frenzy, I believe. Let's take a second No, we're going to go overwhelm. 3 stacks of 3 overwhelm appliers is going to be pretty solid. So that'll allow us to focus down really big targets, Lindworms, Orc War Bosses, Unhold, and make it so that they're almost completely ineffective in combat against us. And we'll be able to do it from range kind of at will. Maybe there's a taxidermist here until these things burn down. That could be the case, but either way, it's going to take them a while before they rebuild it. I don't have permanent destruction on, so they will rebuild it. It's just a matter of time. And hopefully they get to that soon, because I need a taxidermist. But anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next one, y'all. Take care.